Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. Today we are going to do a guide for this week's Hall of Trials against Archdemon Mercedes. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. This week we have to fight Archdemon Mercedes in the Hall of Trials, and the special effects they have for this round. We have increased damage suffered by the boss monsters inflicted with decreased speed by 75%, and warrior heroes are granted, bonus stats. Ranger heroes are penalized, and you can't CR push back the boss, it looks like. So we can use a simple cheese with Conquer Lilius and everybody's favorite hero, Juanuta. So C. Lilius is here to give Vigor buff and to get dual attacks with Juanuta. Juanuta is perfect for this challenge because he is a warrior, and he has decreased speed here on his skill 3. So the way this works is when he gets 100 fighting spirit, you're able to use this ability. And what's really fun is if he's enraged, he ignores effect resistance, which is really nice because I'm sure you've run into, these Hall of Trial challenges where, you get to the damage phase and then the boss 15%'s your, debuff that you need to put on him, right? So that's pretty annoying. And the vast majority of the time he'll have enraged when you're going into that damage phase. His skill 2 here gives him a chance to proc Hour of the Hunt whenever an ally is attacked. He also gets 10 fighting spirit. I didn't even, fully mull it all the way. I didn't want to, spend the catalyst. And this will give him increased speed for him and his allies, and also turn him enraged for 2 turns. And his skill 1 does damage, and when he's enraged, it does more damage. It's also neat because Juanuta will attack buff himself. So he gets the attack buff, he gets the vigor buff from C. Lilius, and if he's enraged, he also gets that damage bonus. And then, his skill 1 has even more damage on top of that. So I decided to build him pretty much just, damage and rage set with pen. This isn't, I think, particularly great rage gear. The pen gear is probably fine. I literally just threw this on him. Like, you can even see this is the flat attack boot. I don't really farm as a Manic 13, so my rage gear is pretty bad. This is like my second set of rage gear, I think. And then, of course, the Hall of Trials artifact. For Conquer Lilius, you can use, I think, any build on her. This is just the PvP build I have. And I have Circus Fantasia on her because that's what I use in PvP. But if you really wanted to, you could swap this for, quite a few things, honestly. You could give her a damage artifact of her own. Border Coin's probably not super useful. You could give her the music box. This would give you a little bit of sustain, because this comp will usually die out after the second damage phase. It makes it there very reliably, but you're probably not going to close out the fight, but you don't need it for SSS. What else could you give her? You could give her Midnight Bloom to give Juanuta extra crit if you don't have the crit chance. That's always an option. You could give her one of the, team artifacts that boosts everybody's damage. Let's see, I was thinking if there's an artifact that could defense break, but this doesn't do that. So yeah, I think those are kind of your options. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fight. This fight is pretty self-explanatory. I will point out in the very beginning, though, you don't want to skill 3 with Conquer Lilius. You kind of want to manipulate it a little bit so that you can enter the damage phase with Vigor buff on Juanuta and him ready to use his skill 3 ability, right, to put the slow debuff on the boss. So you can see we procced our Enrage there. That's a little RNG. You could probably restart this 1 or 2 times if you wanted, just to get the exact right timing, but if you're just going for SSS like I was, I don't think you need to bother. So here you can see one more attack is going to push the damage phase, so this is when we're going to use our skill 3, and you also have to make sure your Juanuta is fully charged so that he can skill 3 right away as soon as you get into the damage phase. We are going to get 1 or 2 attacks in here, unfortunately, before Juanuta can take a turn. He was at the back of the CR bar. You could restart it and just try to get it absolutely perfect, but you totally don't need to. Because we're enraged, we're always going to get that slow debuff on the boss. Now you can see he's hitting pretty hard. He has attack, he has vigor. No longer has enrage, unfortunately, but it's hard to keep all 3 of those debuffs up for a good amount of time. And once you're in the damage phase here, you're just skill 1ing with Conquer Lilius to get those dual attacks in. So almost 3 million on the first damage phase, which is not bad. Now we just kind of have to get to the second damage phase and survive. So here I think it's nice to use the skill 2 from Conquer Lilius because it'll give one unit a barrier and help you, survive to that next point. And immediately get dispelled, of course. I think we can skill 3 here because it's going to take us a few hits to get into the next phase, and we should have our skill 3 up again by the time we get there. And this will, help us burst the boss down so we don't die before we get to the second damage phase. You can see with all the dual attacks and, the mobs attacking your team, he charges up his skill 3 really fast for this fight, right? We already have it available, so we're good to go.
If you wish to live.
I'm debating if I want to skill 3 here to get Vigor. I think it's probably worth it because we're right at the very beginning of the phase. This will take one attack away, but the damage from Vigor over the subsequent attacks is probably worth it. You could do the math and see if that's actually true or not. Alright, we get our slow debuff.
Obey if you wish to live. I'll make you taste despair.
So 1 or 2 more attacks and we should get... There it is, there's triple S. So you're pretty much done at this point. I don't know, there may be a more ideal comp if you want to unlock the achievements and stuff, or you could, potentially put Wanuda on lifesteal so he survives. He probably does enough damage. You don't need the rage bonus.
I'll make you taste despair. This is it. I'll go for the weak spot. Feel my sword.
And at this point, we just have to finish out the fight. We're going to die, but it doesn't really matter. We've, scored well over triple S at that point. So go ahead, let me know in the comments below what team you used, and if you have any questions about this one. I'll see you next time. Later.
Feel my sword. The time has come. Disappear. I'll make you taste despair. Obey. Come, I'll take your life.